2.214 miles with 11 turns and a lot of elevation change. Let's go for a lap with Darren Brasfield and his Oldsmobile Cutlass as he approaches turn 1 on the crest of this hill, pretty well flat out in top gears. He swoops down to the newish turn 2. Down into second gear, gets just a little bit wide there, but pulls it nicely back for the second apex as he goes up into third for turn 3. This is a very flat turn. No camber to help you there. Very quick, and the car actually picks up a lot of speed now as he goes under the Dunlop Bridge, up into fourth gear through another very, very fast right-hand corner. We've already seen quite a few spins there this weekend. Up into turn 5, down a gear. Probably see a bit of overtaking into this corner as the afternoon progresses, and now the road starts to go very steeply uphill. Up into top gear, a very fast left-hander coming up here. Road still going uphill as he approaches turn 7, which is just a little kink right on the top of this bump, and if anybody can get position, they're going to outbrake each other into this, one of the most famous corners in North America, 8 and 8A, the corkscrew. Now the road plunges down into turn 9. A very fast left-hander. Cars get a lot of push here. He got a little bit blocked off there by that other guy. Into turn 10, a very important corner this. No camber to help you because it's a downhill run. You've got to really get over to the right there, make a real tight apex because this is the important corner here. Turn 11, because a lot of overtaking is going to go on to here this afternoon. One of the few places where you can really get people. Darren Brasfield completes another lap here at Laguna Seca.
All right, thank you, David. Now let's take a look at our starting lineup with the help of our Sears Die-Hard starting grid. On the pole for the third time this year, Steve Millen in a Nissan 300ZX twin turbo with 3 victories this year, including 2 in the last 2 races coming in. Next to him, his teammate from Ontario, Canada, Jeremy Dale, in an outwardly identical but mechanically very different Nissan. On row 2, all Olds Rocket Sports teammates, Paul Gentilozzi from Lansing, Michigan, and Darren Brasfield in a totally new car and engine combination racing on his home track. On row 3, a pair of pole sitters, Irv Hare from Peoria, Illinois, in a GTO Olds Cutlass V6. Next to him, John Fergus, the defending GTU class champion, in a Dodge Daytona. Row 4, R.J. Gottlieb from Los Angeles, California, in a GTS Pontiac Firebird. Next to him, David Loring, the points leader in GTU with that painful slip disc in his back in a Nissan 240 SX. On row 5, Butch Leitzinger, Loring's teammate in a Nissan. Next to him, the GTO of Les Lindley. On row 6, Bob Leitzinger in a Nissan and Don Walker in a Dodge, both in the GTU class. Row 7, also GTU, Bill Auberlin's Mazda and Scott Hare's Oldsmobile. Row 8, Amos Johnson in a GTU Olds next to the GTO Ford Mustang of Chuck Kendall. Row 9, Eduardo Dibos in a GTU Mazda next to the GTO Ford of Michael Dingman. Row 10 will be the GTO Chevy Camaro of Bruce Nesbitt next to Eduardo Peyorano in a GTU Mazda. Row 11, all GTO, Rob Davis in a Pontiac and Joe Laugat in an Olds. Row 12, also GTO, Jim Briotti's Oldsmobile next to the similar car of John Gooding. Row 13 will be Nick Cole in a GTO Chevy Camaro next to the GTO Olds of Dick Greer. Row 14, Dale Kreider in a GTS Oldsmobile next to young Jason Engel from Columbus, Ohio in a GTU Mazda. Row 15, the GTU Mazda of Gary Beal next to Bill Fuller's GTO Buick. And all alone on row 16, the GTS Chevy Corvette of Darren Brasfield. We'll be back for the green flag in round 7 of the Exxon Supreme Series from Laguna Seca, California, is brought to you by Exxon Phase 4 Gasoline. For high performance, rely on the Tiger. By Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. And by Yokohama Tires. Advanced technology on wheels. Cruises serenely along as we get set for the start of the IMSA GTS GTO GTU 3-in-1 race here at Laguna. There is the corkscrew, one of the world's most famous racing turns. There is Darren Brasfield getting set to go to work. He'll be carrying 2 onboard cameras today. One looking back at the driver, one looking out the front of this brand new GTS Oldsmobile. We talked a little bit about the speed differential in this field. Some cars with about 280 horsepower, some like the one being driven by Darren Brasfield with over 700 horses, and it should make for some great dicing in traffic, David Hobbs.
I think Darren actually is going to be the star of the afternoon, most probably. That is a brand new car, completely different to the one that's been driven by Paul Gentilozzi. Has a lot lot of horsepower. He didn't qualify as well as he ran yesterday morning in practice. So there's a good opportunity here for Darren to make up some time on those two Nissans, which are occupying the front row.
Pace car is off. It's an all-Nissan front row. Steve Millen and Jeremy Dale being held by starter Jim Sidley. Now the green flag waves and we're underway.
Around that turn one, always was a bottleneck there. Ooh, some people being brave on the outside there as they come into turn two. A bit of fender bending there. I think there's
one of the Oldsmobiles is looped. That's the number 5 car. That is Darren Brassfield.
He looped, he touched Jeremy Dale, and Dale also nearly half spun. Now, is that any damage to his tires or bodywork? Can't see anything wrong with it.
The problem with going off in the first corner is you normally have to wait for the entire field to pass by, and that is what has happened to Darren Brassfield. Now, there is the number 97 GTU machine of Butch Leitzinger, 23-year-old son of former GTU class champion Bob Leitzinger. He was moving slowly. Perhaps that was the car that Darren touched. There is R.J. Gottlieb, number 77 Pontiac Firebird. There is the number 3 Oldsmobile. That is Paul Gentilozzi. And up front, the number 75 Nissan of Steve Millen from New Zealand, now living in Newport Beach, California. Let's take another look now at turn 2 in the very first lap of this race and see if we can pick out what happened to Darren Brassfield. Going down the outside.
He tried to do the outside pass, tried to win the lap on the first race and got tagged there by the car of Jeremy Dale as he went by. Just clipped the rear wing, so quite likely done some damage to the back of that number 5 car.
An incredible amount of smoke coming out of the back of the car as he spun it. There are the top 3. The 75 of Steve Millen, then the number 3 of Paul Gentilozzi, and then the 76 of Jeremy Dale.
Jeremy Dale out of Canada's struggled long and hard to get a professional drive, which he's had for the last couple of years with the Nissan team. Went to the usual stages, the Barbasab Championship, and of course a whole bunch of Formula 4s racing up in Canada. There's Steve Millen rushing in front of our position here as he comes up into the quick left turn 5 there. Now they start to go uphill. Turbo Nissan there, turning out about 725 horsepower in race trim, as does the Oldsmobile. Paul Gentilozzi behind him.
That's a 6.5-liter normally aspirated V8. The same engine that Tom Kendall runs in that futuristic Chevy GTP in the IMSA Camel GT series with all of the trick electronics, the Gen 3 engine management system. There comes Jeremy Dale. It's a Nissan sandwich around the Oldsmobile.
We've been hearing that the Nissan team was somewhat caught unawares with the professionalism and the expertise of the Oldsmobile team. They won last year.